Hi, this is Joni, holistic health teacher, coach, and consultant. To shift the way that we function, changing our behavior is the first step. One part of the holistic health pie is the slice concerning continual education. What are you learning today? When we change our behavior so that we can change the way we operate overall, holistically, we must look at the entire pie. But we also have to eat it piece by piece. So today our focus is continuing education. When we're constantly learning new things, we're constantly taking action, which in and of itself is a change in behavior. We also now know that mood follows action and that progression leads to happiness. So in taking a step to learn new things, we've already taken a step towards shifting our mood for the better. Today, your being here, listening to what might be new information to you, is taking action. So first off, congratulations. Now, incorporating that action and integrating it into our life takes time. So go easy on yourself, but keep going. Our continuing education is lending to our brain's neuroplasticity, so essentially keeping the brain from going stagnant, which also, growing intellectually and hopefully emotionally when we're willing to drop in and do that deeper work as well. I'm no different from you, and I'm totally doing this work right alongside you and right alongside all of my teachers. I believe that you are your own guru, and anyone claiming to have all of the answers and to have it all figured out isn't someone I'd advise listening to. We're all having this human experience together, right? So, to touch briefly on neuroplasticity, we all have the ability to keep our brains young, supple, and elastic. Neuroplasticity is the ability of the brain to adapt and change. Just like we've been talking about the other realms of holistic health, such as movement to build muscle, stay strong and flexible, when you're learning, the nerve cells of your brain are also getting a workout. They're growing and getting stronger and developing greater connectivity. This focus, so focusing on whatever you're learning, is truly the entry point to changing your brain. And the latest on this is that neuroplasticity is triggered by intense focus, but it occurs during deep sleep and rest. We'll discuss deep sleep and rest in upcoming videos for sure. I'm also a yoga teacher, and in that world, we talk about how becoming strong and flexible on your yoga mat translates to becoming strong and flexible in both the body and the brain off of the mat out in the world. This modality of yoga, which is considered a moving meditation because it's different from the other forms of exercise in the way it quote-unquote works on the body and the brain. At its core, much of yoga and meditation are about neuroplasticity and rewiring the brain. Not to get into the science behind all of that, but that's why yoga isn't really technically exercise in the way that mountain biking or running or what have you is. Continuing education, going back to that, this continual learning also lends in some respects to not only the growth, but the rewiring of our brain cells. This rewiring spans into a whole nother very exciting arena, but for now, just know that you do have the ability to change your brain. It doesn't matter how old you are. It is more difficult over the age of 25 than under, but it's not impossible at all. Continually learning new things is one important way to change our brains. The early stages of this hard work will be annoying and feel like stress and agitation and confusion. You might think, oh man, I don't know if I can do this, but this is when certain chemicals in the brain begin to kick in, specifically norepinephrine and the adrenal system in general. But the brain just has to warm up, just like our body. We don't just hop up off the couch and run a marathon. I mean, some people do, but for the most of us, we don't do that thing. We have to gradually stretch daily and start with shorter runs and, work up to a marathon. So just keep in mind that we'll have to go through this little annoying stage anytime we want to sit down and learn. A little bit of confusion, a little bit of stress and agitation, but just keep going through that after you sit down for a little while and begin to focus, and you'll get to the point where you're reaching more of a flow state. Very popular terminology these days, but you'll just move into the groove of what you're doing. I'm going to quote Dr. Andrew Huberman, who's a neuroscience professor at Stanford. He says, "Behavior first, thoughts, feelings, and perceptions follow. So take action, and the rest will come." Which brings me back to yoga, actually. Patabi Joyce, who's essentially known for bringing yoga to the States, he says, "Practice, and all is coming." Same thing, just coming from the East versus the higher education in the West. So we take action, we learn, we practice until it becomes integrated. And then we don't even have to think about things so much, right? That's what I mean by integration. So whether this is a new skill like writing code, if you're a software engineer in the tech world, or learning communication skills to better our relationships, which is, more soft skills and more about emotional intelligence. Those are on opposite sides of the spectrum, but they both count toward cultivating our brain's neuroplasticity. Every once in a while, I add in a little pro tip. So today, think about, when you sit down to learn something new, think about the beginner's mind. What's known as the beginner's mind is when we uphold or we just allow an understanding that says, I don't know everything. I don't know a lot. I don't fully understand everyone else's point of view. I don't have it all figured out, and neither does anyone else. But I'll commit to sitting down here, deeply listening and learning. This is how we remain open, adaptable, and flexible versus shutting down, ghosting, stopping the flow of information and energy, which is vital, especially during times like what we're experiencing right now. So here's today's challenge. Let's say for this year, because this one can take some strategy and planning when we talk about continuing education. What's something new that you're going to learn this year? What are you going to teach yourself? What are you going to commit to practicing daily? Again, this year is different. This past year is different. We're all feeling a little more taxed than usual. It's a little bit stressful. There's anxiety, there's depression, there's a lot going on for a lot of people. But this continuing education is one way to lift ourselves out of that a little bit. So considering what's going on, you might have to pick something smaller than usual to learn, something more attainable. So that no sweat, just do that thing. If you do have it in you right now to commit to something larger, it's best to focus on just one big thing, one big learning at a time. So like for this year, pick your one thing, small or large, and start. This realm of holistic health might also be connected to your career and finances. With so many millions of people affected right now, we're all trying to find our pivots in one way or another, and that's probably happened a few times at this point. So look for that video popping up right about now about your career and finances. If this video resonates with you, please like it and share it with anyone who might be looking for support during this time. Please subscribe to this channel. Don't miss out on our upcoming coming together to make epic change happen for the better this year. I appreciate your being here. Thank you and be well.